Dr. Dmitry Daskalaki was hired and spoke to the world today during a press briefing at the White House as the monkeypox response deputy coordinator. That's all fine and good until you see some of his photos flying around. The memes are now everywhere. This is weird, and it follows a trend in Biden's staff being, well, non-traditional, we'll call it. My mama would call it inappropriate. Mama's always right. I don't know many people like this, but you might say I need to get out more, but I might say this is why I do not get out more. I don't know what type of character Biden will put in front of the camera tomorrow, but they won't be speaking in front of my children.
Remember John F. Kennedy Jr.? He was declared the front-runner for the New York Senate seat back in 1999. Days later, his plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean, and his rival, Hillary Clinton, was elected senator. Mary Mahoney was a Clinton White House intern. She knew enough of the inner workings of Bill's sexual advancements to be a star witness during the Clinton impeachment trials. She was brutally executed at a Starbucks she was managing in 1997. In 1993, White House counsel Vince Foster was found dead in Fort Marcy Park near D.C. He supposedly killed himself, and among a lengthy list of potential foul play, the bullet was never found.
What's the biggest real conspiracy ever uncovered? Charlemagne's father, Pepin the Short, invaded Italy in the 8th century, and what happened next involves the most significant and long-lasting fraud in history. You see, Pepin invaded Italy in order to save the Pope from the Lombards, but even though they were allies, the Pope was afraid that Pepin would eventually desire all of Italy for himself. This was a problem because the popes have been acting as the de facto rulers of central Italy ever since the fall of the Roman Empire. But now if the church wasn't careful, they could lose their independence and end up once more subordinate to a secular power. Fearing this, the church presented Pepin with a document known as the Donation of Constantine. They claimed that 400 years earlier, the first Christian Roman emperor, Constantine the Great, had written this document, granting dominion of the city of Rome and its surrounding territories to the Pope and his successors. Pepin chose to honor this agreement, and this became the legal basis for the creation of the Papal States, whose existence would shape the face of Europe for the next 1,000 years. This document was believed to be authentic for the entirety of the Middle Ages, but new evidence came to light in the 15th century, and now even the Catholic Church accepts that the Donation of Constantine was the most significant and consequential forgery in history.
There's two kinds of dangers. One is what I just talked about, that we've arranged a society based on science and technology in which nobody understands anything about science and technology, and this combustible mixture of ignorance and power, sooner or later, is going to blow up in our faces. I mean, who is running the science and technology in a democracy if the people don't know anything about it? And the second reason that I'm worried about this is that science is more than a body of knowledge. It's a way of thinking, a way of skeptically interrogating the universe with a fine understanding of human fallibility. If we are not able to ask skeptical questions, to interrogate those who tell us that something is true, to be skeptical of those in authority, then we're up for grabs for the next charlatan, political or religious, who comes ambling along. It's a thing that Jefferson laid great stress on. It wasn't enough, he said, to enshrine some rights in a constitution or a Bill of Rights. The people had to be educated, and they had to practice their skepticism and their education. Otherwise, we don't run the government. The government runs us.
Then there's James McDougal, a key witness for White House prosecutors. He was serving his 3-year sentence for bank fraud at the Fort Worth Federal Medical Center in Texas. And just before he was to give a testimony before the grand jury, McDougal suffered a heart attack in solitary confinement. In 2015, Walter Scheib, a White House chef hired under Bill Clinton, joined the list. His body was found at the bottom of a river, nearly 2 miles from the base of the trail he was reportedly hiking. An autopsy determined that Scheib's death was accidental drowning, but he might have known too much. 27-year-old Democratic National Committee staffer Seth Rich was shot and killed in D.C. this year. There is speculation that he was the source of the controversial leaked emails allegedly sent by DNC staffers, and that he may have been murdered in retaliation. Then Sean Lucas, the lead attorney in a fraud case against the DNC, was found lying on the bathroom floor by his girlfriend when she returned home on August 2nd. His death was reported classified, pending the results of an autopsy. To this day, questions.
Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association. You may hear that name and say, why does that sound so familiar? it might be from here.
Frog, I can make new friends on the internet. Here's a chat room. Men who like young boys. That's perfect. Hi, everybody. I am a young boy seeking an older male for good times. I am 8 years old and would like... Wow, look at all these guys that want to be my friend. Meet me at Mel's Buffet Restaurant tomorrow morning. Sounds good. See you then. Hat, curly hair, smiley face. You see that, Cloud Frog? Tomorrow I'm gonna meet my first mature friend.
Okay, so you get the gist. And the intention is obviously to be satire, right? Wrong. Introducing David Thorstad, the founder of NAMBLA. David was a prominently known gay rights activist in the 60s and 70s, and he worked really hard to try and integrate NAMBLA into the LGBTQ community, and of course, they gave him the full stop.
We have midterms coming, the midterm elections, and are you at all concerned about the balance of power and the continuing support from the U.S.?
We, of course, all these details will have influence on Ukraine. Yes, I follow, but that is the decision of American people, and I don't want to, even if I can, I don't want to have any influence on this decision.
There is a pyramid on top of a mountain in Scotland, and I didn't know this existed. Look at the size of that bad boy.
NAMBLA's primary objective has been to destigmatize and normalize a consensual sexual relationship between children and adults. You may say, Katie, children can't consent. I know that, and they know that. That's why they worked so hard legislatively to have the age of consent reformed and sentencing reduced for people who were charged. Some of their most prominent members we see this particularly all the time. Someone in a religious position of power and a mental health practitioner using that power to abuse children. This rabbit hole went deep. So the beginning of this South Park episode, where Cartman is looking for a friend online, and he finds a forum. Yeah, they exist. And this was highly disturbing. Deeper down the rabbit hole we go. I came across a resources index. There are so many. And more. And more. One of the first resources I clicked on, the natural beauty of boys going barefoot, is albums filled with pictures that were just yanked from parents' social media. I'm not going to show you them. That's where I'm covering up because this is some person's child. I continued clicking through resources and oh look, I went straight to a CSAM website. In one of these resources, I found an article written by a NAMBLA member where he is reviewing photo sets he's purchased of young boys. And the review is, come back for part 2.
What's the difference between a good friend and a best friend? A good friend will call you by your nickname. A best friend will send you this video to let you know that you are living in a simulation. Everything you've ever known and ever will know is a highly detailed background scene in a tacky educational video shown to alien high school students as a warning of how planet ownership can go horribly wrong. You cannot escape. You will die here. Best friend.
Hi, I'm one of the conspiracy theorists behind the rise in disinformation and conspiracy theories. I cause real harm to you, your health, and your physical safety. I amplify and legitimize misconceptions about the pandemic and reinforce violent extremism, endangering you and your family. I wanted to apologize today on behalf of conspiracy theorists everywhere for the real reason you're all mad at us. We've made you all look like fools over and over. We told you in 2020 that lockdowns were authoritarian and would lead to mass starvation amongst the poor. Well, we were right. And when the government printed $6 trillion and sent out stimulus checks, we said it would lead to inflation, which is caused by central banks expanding the monetary supply. And because you took the checks, now the poor are gonna die. Nice going. There's more conspiracy theories to come. Get ready for what's next. Yeah, it gets worse. War with Russia and China. Economic collapse. More lockdowns. Martial law. And much more. Don't worry. Big business and big government has your back, right? 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 Right?
I am not your enemy. I am the enemy.
In the beginning, because I'm trying to remember what you were saying.
So
basically the humans are on one space, one environment that's inside another environment. We are on Earth, and the Earth is just one planet in the galaxy. You can compare that to an ant on the patio in this backyard.
Let's see. Can we see any ants? Can you show me what you mean exactly?
Probably aren't some at the moment, but this is an ant horn. Anyway, so the ant doesn't know that there's more than the patio here. He just thinks there's an ant.
Oh, let's see.
He just thinks that he just keeps walking. He doesn't know he's just part of of lots of worlds, and the human race is sort of like that. After they've discovered what's up there, they know they're only a little part of the huge galaxy.
So do you think we're alone in the universe? Are we the only intelligent life?
No. I think there probably are many different kinds of life forms, cells and organisms. Some may not be visible, some may not have been discovered, and some may be on places we can't go. And they all might have the same perspective as we do on this, that there might be others, and that maybe they can find them someday, but at the moment they don't know. They're part of a big world.
Well, what do you think about the idea of alternate universes?
I think it's realistic at the same time as it is fantastical.
That's exactly what scientists think. They're not sure. They have the math to prove it, but they haven't observed it, so they don't know.
Yeah, it's just very complicated because you have no proof that there's anything out there. The only proof is yourself.
Right.
And where you are in the universe, and you can only make theories. You can never know the truth unless science gets a lot more complex and they find ways to go onto Mars or something.
Do you think we'll make it to Mars in our lifetimes?
Maybe, maybe not. It all depends if people discover it, if people try it,
yeah,
and basically luck.
Right.